What's good, y'all, and welcome to another vid. We have the announcement for the big September 15th patch, or I guess you could say September 16th, because once again this is going to happen around 4 hours before reset into the 16th. But the interesting part right here is we have hero buffs, we have even more faction trials. Let me know down below if you've actually even finished or at least attempted the new Nightmare faction trials. But let's have a look at those really quickly, and there's the big highlight in obviously the Reaper himself, Zeus. Or Zeus, or however you want to pronounce him. So let's check it out. We have Malvira, where her Oath of the Damned trigger interval is now way earlier, right? Which means she can trigger her invulnerability at just 55 seconds, which is a big difference to 60, even though it might not sound like much. And then in a change to her announcement where she has a longer shield, where she increases her max HP by 10, and when casting skills, she also increases her max HP even more, so it's going to make her even more of a tank. But let's be real here, Malvira, she didn't really need any buffs, I would say. And then we have the A5, where each enemy kill increases the hero's max HP by 2%, stacking up to 10 times. Adjusted to each kill increases the enemy's hero's max HP by 2 and damage reduction by 1. So overall, if you have an A5 Malvira, or I guess a Malvira, and then anywhere between A1 and A5, she's just become a lot more reliable, and overall she might at least get a little closer to what is, I guess, the gold standard of tanks in Brock here. Now here we have the big one, right? Zeus, Lord of the Sticks, where his burst damage multiplier, you can see the massive increase going from 100 to 120 to 140 to 180, as well as the continuous damage from 60 to 90. So you have a 50% damage increase here, as well as also a 50% damage increase here, which is quite big, seeing how that's the ultimate. The vulnerability inflicted on all enemies is now also 20%, so more in line with what kind of like the standard level of your vulnerabilities. The A1 ground effect area increased, or yeah, right, to last 1 second longer, and also 50% slow. So he can now slow on his own. He can trigger himself, right? He's a cultist, so he can trigger his own faction buff. But this is the big one. For all of us who've been hoping, who've been praying for Zealous exclusive artifact to actually do something, it's now finally here. 15% damage increase, as well as healing effect reduction, which was useful but also super useless, has now finally been changed to damage increase to plus 25% during ultimate, and now anti-heal on affected enemies. I can't wait to show you Zealous in Gear Dungeon 1. Lyra the Cosmic Seer, also an upgrade, where before if at least one meteor existed, she got the attack increase of the hero for 10 seconds, and if 2 existed, she gets a dispel. Now when the ultimate meteors hit, regardless of if it's 1 or 2, it was very, very necessary, because actually having to pay attention and specifically look closer to see if your Lyra had 1 or 2 portals shooting 1 or 2 ultimate meteors, that now is no longer the case, and also they upped the value to 35%, so we have the perfect dispel even with any meteors. And then Celestial Conference bonus disappears after attacking different enemies, adjusted to bonus decreases by 1 stack after attacking a different enemy, which just means that you're going to be able to keep the Celestial Conference up higher, even outside of just single target content. And then also Cosmic Rift duration increased, which also makes it more likely for 2 Cosmic Rifts to be active to shoot during the ultimate. And then the Awakening adjustment for the A3. Additional effect, Starfall Strike inflicts stuns for 1 second on hit, which makes her, I guess, a bit more useful, if you want to say it like that, for Guild Boss 2. As obviously Apocalypse, right? We're not talking about Zeus. Damn Zeus. Alright, then we have Moridan, a adjustment to a limited unit that you as of this moment can't get. He's obviously our anniversary hero, so let's see what they did to him. Overall, they adjusted and increased his charge time, so now he can actually charge his Dark Infusion stacks in just 4 seconds per stack rather than 5, which is a pretty big buff. Then also Blackwind during the Darkness state, so during the ultimate state, his attack becomes Soul Strike, which now deals 40% more damage. That's quite a lot of damage. And then casting Soul Strike during the ultimate restores a 10% max HP value to him, so his A1 now just got a whole lot better, and it wasn't anything to sneeze at before. And then also we have Phelan, our epic, right? When an enemy inflicted with poison by this hero dies, deals AoE damage equal to 230% to up to 8 surrounding enemies. This effect can only be triggered one time every 3 seconds. The important part here, when an enemy inflicted with poison by this hero, not dying through poison of this hero, which means you can actually have her there, have her inflict her poison, and then they're actually gonna implode based on her damage even without her having to be the one that actually kills. Now for Kigiri we have a fix where when he activated Tranquil Refractions and immediately triggering a parry could sometimes prevent the ultimate from ending early, so no more ability hits and you trigger at the moment the ability hits and then all of a sudden he doesn't ult. It didn't happen often, but it did make you wonder what exactly was going on when it did happen, so that won't happen as often or hopefully at all anymore. Imrit's basic attack occasionally had inconsistent attack timing. We don't know if that was better or worse. Is it better or worse? No, who knows? Fixing an issue where Lyra's basic attack had inconsistent attack timing. Is she now better? Is she now worse? Did anything change? I can't quite tell you. Neza, we have the true damage remove, okay. Since Neza's true damage skill is at Awaken 3 and now we have it AoE physical damage, which is fair, right? You cannot quite give a hero attack if you have to get the heroes 4 times for that. Pathfinding logic performance for summoned units. I mean, okay, so Imrit, or I guess Ice Imrit, summoned Imrit for Nora's now a little better, and also Beatrix's summons now perform a little better, so that makes me even more interested in once again Gear Dungeon 1 and kind of seeing how Beatrix is performing there now with this little tweak, because she basically dominated that by herself already. Next up we have the 6 new stages where we get 6 Northerner stages and 6 Cultist stages, which means they now go from also 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and that for all of them. Also as well on top of that, in the Tower of Deception, they've added 5 new challenge stages and 1 hidden chamber stage, which means the way they've done this is they've taken stage 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and the hidden chamber and turned that now into 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Basically, they took the whole tower, made an insertion, put that stage in, and the whole tower is now even longer, right? The whole tower is now even longer. We'll check out the tower in more detail when it actually reruns again, right, with these extra 5 stages, because there's a lot of things to be done there. It's been a while since we did some nice tower content. I don't even think we've really cleared the final stage, so that might be on the agenda too. And now we have a new storage system. So overall, they're going to do a little bit of a UI overhaul. Let me actually show you what they did there. But I'll show you this in more detail after we go through the rest here. Optimization, blah blah blah, maintain previous position, gear bulk enhancement feature, badge operations, badge enhancement, badge lock, badge unlock, and badge sell. This is fantastic. Like, the ability to badge unlock should have been there for a while, because nothing is more disgusting than having locked a whole bunch of pieces and then wanting to take a gear code to clear out all that gear, and then you just have 99% of your pieces locked and you know it's going to take hours to actually unlock those, so that is now fixed. We have 500 slots to gear storage, which is pretty sweet. The population cap for Overlord has been increased to 500, which means now more can work their way closer to that ever-elusive Lady Alexandra. The 5-star psychic powers and shards are now no longer available in Drake's Chasm. You can now hit invisible monsters more reliably with AoE attacks, which should have always been the case. And we have more achievements where if you clear a try unlocked with a Mossy Crystal 3 or above, or Legendary Rarity and Rarer, and eliminate all monsters, you can grant the bronze medal. If you've cleared the stage 19 in gear rate 1, 2 and 3, you get the legendary hero pick, which is fantastic news. And then also, if you launch 5 successful attacks in Guild War, you get a demon soldier, or I guess 2 of them. And then you have the Nightmare Harbinger, Lord of Night, King of North, Winter Overlord, Spellbreaker, and Lord of Annihilation for clearing stage 15, 18, 15, 18, 15, 18 in the new trials. I'm not quite sure what the rewards for those are, but hey. Outside of that, we also have hero ratings to Tower of Deception and Merrick's Hall of Illusion, so people can now vote on these ratings. So let's check out the sorting system in a bit more detail. Right, so here we are on, I guess, the showcase server. You've probably seen it somewhere else before, but yes, if you cleared stage 19, and if you're missing any of these, Raka, King House, Leia, Morrigan, Torador, Twinfield, Venoma, pick, right? Pick whoever you're missing. And then on top of that, we'll obviously try to go through the best awakenings possible just to see who could you really get the most out of if you had to pick someone you already have. But there's obviously some highlights in here, especially maybe with the Raka's rework. I know it was a bit more on the sly, but it did happen after all. Let's see if we can already check out the reward for stage 15 in the faction trial. Oh yeah, we did it on the live test server, but you can see it's actually an ancient, and you can get 3 ancients if you beat stage 18, which means overall you can get 12 ancients by beating stage 18 of all of these trials, which is overall, I would say, pretty decent. But now what we're actually here for, the new storage system, which looks like this. If you're worried, oh, you don't like the look of it, or you want to get used to it, keep in mind that has nothing to do with your normal gear storage right here. You still have the same foundry, you still have the same sorting mechanism right here, you still have gem enhancement, you still have quick change. It is all like this, but what they did is they took the storage from up here and finally moved it down to the bar right below us here, which means it's now alongside next to the storyline, obviously not by the storyline if you finished that already. And then you're going to have here obviously your 2 left side gear tabs in weapon and armor, and then your 3 right side gear tabs right here, beautifully sorted. You have the bulk organize button where you can bulk lock, bulk unlock, bulk enhance, and obviously your recommendation settings axis, sweet, right here, as well as then also artifact sorting, quite useful, with again bulk organize, bulk sell, so pretty good. You have your materials tab. It might look a little ugly, but I feel like it's something we're all just gonna get used to over time. And I think it's a nice idea. You have your shards separated from your materials. You don't have to infinitely scroll through everything. And then you also have an overview tab where you can have a look at... oh yeah, for some of those of you that were asking to unequip all gear, you can do that now. Yes. You can now unequip all gear and artifacts. I don't know if you really wanted to do that, but for some reason, some of you were always requesting that in like this dev Q&A. So here you have like a better overview of all your gear. So it should be easier than ever to sort your stuff and find success. Peace!